Hi everybody, my name is Dan Close. I'm teaching COM 130 and I want to welcome you to the class and talk a little bit about some of the things we're going to be doing this semester. I want to tell you first that I really enjoy teaching this class. I've taught it quite a few times, both online only like we're doing and also in a classroom. And I get a lot of enjoyment from it because it's good to kind of talk about the things we all enjoy talking about. Whether it's different forms of mass communication like movies and the internet and TV and radio and newspapers, social media, things like that. I think we all have a common interest in that, and that's a big chunk of what we'll spend class time doing this semester, is talking about the mass media. We'll also weave in a little bit of mass media history, theory, ethics, and some of the other things that we talk about, criticism, things like that, as the semester goes on. So again, thank you for enrolling in the class. The major part of talking about communications will have to do with talking about ways in which the mass media, or the media I should say, infiltrates our lives, and which can be a benefit or can be a detriment. The ways it brings us together as a community, as a people, and also the ways it can tear us apart as a people. I'm talking in addition about the subset of mass media called the press, or newspapers, broadcast TV stations, radio stations, other things like that. So when you think of mass communication or communication, mass media, we talk about the whole umbrella, everything from the movie you go out and watch down to the political analysis you might read or hear about on TV, and social media and things like that, bloggers, things you find on the internet. It's a whole spectrum, and each one of those has a separate part or role to play in that. So we'll talk about those different forms of media, many of them anyway. Like I said, radio, TV, movies, newspapers, the internet, and we'll also talk about issues that are controversial, whatever they might be for you. Maybe for you, politics is a controversy you want to talk about in a blog entry. Maybe it's gun control. Maybe it's gender problems or race relations or any number of other things that are current or maybe soon could become current in our society. So this class is a forum for expression of those sorts of things. Obviously, I want people to be polite and civil to each other in the course of discussing these things. And the discussions we'll have can be pretty far-ranging, because when you think about it, communication, especially mass communication, is probably the biggest single field of study there is. Everything else, I mean, it's part of everything else. If you're studying criminal justice, you're going to deal with the media. If you're studying, if you're an English Lit major, you're even going to deal with the media. If you're studying mechanical engineering, there's a media or mass media component to that. But we all have that in common, is what I'm saying. So we'll experience some things that will both unite us and divide us, and that's the ultimate question: is, can media unite us or divide us, or does it do both? So I will highlight for this semester selected chapters of a textbook that I want you to read. I provide the free textbook. It's when you first go onto our Blackboard site, it'll say textbook on the left. If you want to read the entire textbook, you can. It's fairly long, but it's free. You don't have to pay for it. The other thing is, if you go to weekly modules, that's a week-by-week progression of the chapters we're going to study. In addition to those separate chapters being broken out for reading there, I do videos, narrated video. Well, you could call them PowerPoints, even though I make them with a different form of software called Keynote. Basically, it's like a PowerPoint show with me talking over it. They're narrated, and it's especially important that you watch all of those. They're usually broken down to one or more half-hour or so chunks of material for each chapter. And often, like in a lecture hall, if I were lecturing this, we were talking in person, I'll have things in those video things that I'll mention that could very well be on a test later. It'd be like, this reminds me of an example of when, or another way to look at this is this. Or maybe just come right out and say, this is going to be on the test. You really need to know this. So it's important not just to read the chapters and skip the videos, because you'll get a lot of other videos, and I recommend you take good extensive notes off those videos. So those videos will be in the form of YouTube lectures. They will be posted in each module. Everybody has access to YouTube. If you don't, it's a simple matter of asking for it online. But I've not had any complaints from anybody who wasn't able to watch the videos. So in addition to the forms of media we'll talk about, like I said, movies, radio, internet, various forms of print media and legacy media. We're also going to do some on history, theory, ethics, and internet and social media. So here's how you get started in the class. First of all, log on to Blackboard site, our ClassWorld Blackboard site, and you should already be there if you're watching this. Go to the Getting Started chunk on the left-hand side, and click on that, and there's a number of things in there for you to explore. One of them is this video, which you probably are already in Getting Started if you followed my instructions that I sent by email. The other things are basic software requirements, various things to read. There's one special chunk of the syllabus that's there about students who are registered through Disability Services. I need to know that immediately if you are registered through Disability Services, so I can provide all the help possible for you this semester. And a few other things there, like a sample blog, in case you want to look at what a blog might look like down the road. Sample test is usually 4 to 6 questions. It doesn't count for anything. It's just there so you can understand and play with how the test mechanism works for taking tests online. This is an online-only class. That's not to say that I don't have students come to my office during the office hours that are in the syllabus. Certainly I have a lot of people email me and call me, but I have students from all over the country in this class enrolled, and other nations too. So that's one of the reasons I provided a free textbook. It's because if you're in Australia or Japan, you're not likely to be able to get a copy of the textbook, or at least get them in time. Plus it cuts costs, and I think that's pretty important today, so make sure that students aren't loaded down with a lot of textbook costs. So go to Getting Started, like you are. Go through and read and look at all that kind of stuff and make sure you're prepped for the first week of class. Also, go to the syllabus, and although you can get by this semester with never downloading and printing it, I recommend you do. It's quite a few pages long, but it's very, very explanatory about everything in the class. It will answer a lot of questions that you have. If you still have questions, feel free to contact me. But there's, I don't know, it's 7 or 8 pages. Go ahead and print that out and have that to refer to. It also explains how all the grading works, how all of the, when the tests are going to be administered, when the blogs are going to be done, other things like that. It also explains the research component. There's a very small research component in this class. It usually takes the form of you doing a survey or two. It's worth a small portion of your grade, but that 5% portion of your grade can be important when it comes down to the nitty-gritty. So go to do the Getting Started stuff, read the syllabus and hopefully print it, and then go to week 1 module, and that will tell you the stuff that we're working on. I do not post the entire class at the beginning of the semester because it's my experience that people tend to get overwhelmed by that. I mean, some people say, yeah, I want everything from day one. I'll work at my own speed through. They may or may not have a good grade at the end. If your goal is to finish as quickly as possible, that's the thing for you. But usually people don't do as well when they do that. So I roll it out pretty much week by week to keep everything in control, because I realize that you may have other classes, you certainly have most of your jobs, you certainly have family and friends and other things you do with your life. So I want to create a controlled system for you to do everything you do on a week by week basis. You talk to the experts who publish the surveys. The single most important thing to surviving an online class or doing well in an online class is that you have a very systematic way of doing things, both from the teacher's end and from your end, with the idea that you plan ahead, you set aside time to do all the things on a proven schedule, in this case the one that's outlined both in the syllabus and in the modules, which serve as kind of a schedule if you look through them all as we go. That's the single most important key to success in an online class. And I don't know if any of you had an online class before. You may have had a great experience. You may have had a not great experience. I suspect that if you had a not great experience, it's because the course was disorganized and you didn't quite know when things were happening. I take great pains to make sure you know exactly what's happening along the whole way. And you may even get daily emails from me. A few people get upset about that. I don't want to get an email from you every day. I'm capable of looking myself. Most people appreciate the email that says, hey, don't forget tomorrow you need to go do this, or in 3 days your test will be available and you can go take the test. I hope you see that kind of constant communication from me as a benefit, not as something to be unhappy about. So those are the 3 things I want you to do right now, and I want you to go ahead and finish all the stuff you need to do through getting started. I want you to print out and read thoroughly and ask me any questions on the syllabus. And I want you to go ahead and go to the weekly module 1 and start working on that stuff. And that's all I have to say for now, except I'm really glad to have you in class. I'm glad you enrolled. And don't hesitate to contact me. If you develop some sort of serious problem during the semester, rather than keep it to yourself and cause some more inner turmoil, I would just as soon, if you don't mind, have you let me know what's going on, and maybe we can work it out. Maybe we can figure out a way to do things. I have 2 daughters, both of whom have graduated from college, and one of them is working on a 2nd degree. And I really understand what can happen in a college student's life. And I've been teaching for quite a while now. If you read the syllabus, you'll find all those boring details about who I am and what I'm about. Even though deadlines are important, when you take a media or communication course, even at this early stage, I want to emphasize that life has a funny way of messing things up. So please feel free to contact me, and we can do something about it, I'm pretty sure. So, not to end on a down note, I want to end on an up note. I hope you've had a great time over break, but now I assume you're ready to roll up your sleeves and get to work. And I will see you soon and talk to you sooner. Bye-bye. Now I get to walk towards the camera and turn it off because I'm a one-man band.